I saw wasn't human.
Oh my God!
It was very tall. What's more, it saw me. This thing.
Rawhead Rex.
This podcast is not safe for work and will feature movie spoilers. It will feature scenes described of a graphic nature. It will contain language which most listeners may find offensive. Welcome to the podcast Under the Stairs. And welcome back to another instalment of Rawhead Rex in PCs. This is a sub-series of the podcast Under the Stairs where we take the movie Rawhead Rex from 1986. We break it up into digestible, reviewable 5-minute segments, ladies and gents. Just 5 minutes. That's all we're covering on this episode. We're covering it like 6 times longer than the 5-minute segment, granted, because this is a podcast after all, and who wants 5 minutes of entertainment when you can get 35 minutes? Just squeeze that entertainment out there, that content needs to flow. On this episode, we are doing minutes 25 through 30. The kicker on these NPC series is that I record all the episodes, then I put all the episodes into a randomizer, and that dictates the order in which they'll drop. So this might be the very first episode you're listening to. As a listener, I would be like, he just said 25 to 30. That's not the start of the film. And welcome to the podcast Under the Stairs. This is how my brain works. So yeah, we're going to do minutes 25 through 30. Just for context here, minute 25 will start with the police outside a farmhouse, and minute 30 is a kid that can't open the door. He's shouting for Andy, and Rawhead Rex drops a toy robot and then smashes it as he starts walking towards the caravan that the little boy is trapped in. Joining me on this episode covering minutes 25 through 30 is my good friend, and well, let's put it this way, he volunteered for this, so that's all that needs to be said about this one. He has volunteered for this, fully safe in the knowledge that both of the segments he has chose or was given didn't have death in them. Joining me on this episode is one Mr. David Garrett Jr. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I'm awesome. It's not as if we've already just recorded one of these right before this.
Right.
Time it could be placing these right beside each other, or could be placing them so far apart that people will forget that we've already recorded one. That's how it works. See, when they say time, like, see when Matthew McConaughey's like, time is a flat circle, which is not how he talks in that movie at all, or TV show. It's a TV show. Yeah, it's True Detective. That's not how he talks. It's a terrible accent. But you know what? I can get away with it because I'm Scottish. And literally, the Scots are good at one accent, and that is Scottish, right? And everything else.
And you're very good at it.
We're very, very, very good at it. It just turns out the rest of the world thinks they're good at it, but for whatever reason, they talk like this when they're doing the accent. And I'm like, that's literally not how anyone talks over here, and I take offence at that. And your people. Anyway, I, once again, genuinely thought, prayed, hoped, fingers were crossed for you, David. I was like that. We're going to get some primo Rawhead Rexes going out there and killing folk action. And that's not what happens. Once again, you are stumbling into an orgy just after the guy has nutted or you're opening the room to the other one and things are about to get spicy. That's
Just a
who
doorman here.
You're literally you're the man holding the bowl at a swingers party while people are putting keys in it, like that. When they get to put the bowls down and join in, and they're like, maybe later, and you're like, great. This is the job I always wanted when I was asked to come to a swingers party. Let's get into this, because this is an interesting one, because you are in between kills.
Yes.
Which is kind of fun, because you get all the nonsense that this movie tries to put in to make it sound important. With some weird and wonderful characters, including the two detectives here, who are tantamount to useless. This is like, these are kind of like the thing that instantly jumped out to me and made me happy when watching this is the idea that there's two detectives in this movie and there's two detectives in pieces, and I started warring with myself at who are the better detectives, the detectives in pieces or the detectives in Rawhead Rex. And what I came to the conclusion of is that the detectives in pieces, who are terrible at their job, are better than the detectives at Rawhead Rex, who do not care about anything. Like,
I mean, at least they're doing like police work in that one, where this one they're kind of just like hanging out. It feels like for the most part.
They're just talking about how this is like a backwoods place and they should be somewhere else. It's police snobbery, and I kind of love it. We kick off here with the police outside a farmhouse. The police are looking around outside the house, and one is sent in with a woman who is maniacally strapped to a gurney being stretchered into an ambulance. And one police officer's like, that, listen, you need to go in that ambulance with her. You need to pay attention to everything she says, even if she's mumbling. If she's mumbling, we need to know what she's mumbling. In you go. And that guy's like, oh great, this is my job tonight. And he so glad I became a police officer. So he walks in there, and the camera pans over, and we have our two detectives, which I kind of love. And they're standing over. One of them is kneeling in the mud. He, for me, is called Detective Number 2. The other one is standing in his trench coat. He is Detective, because I didn't bother giving him a 1 because he was the first one, and then we gave 2 to separate the two of them. The reason I'm doing
sequel,
that, the reason I'm doing that is because, for continuity's purpose, in my notes thus far, they're referred to as Detective and Detective 2, and this is the only way we're going to get through this, because I don't think we ever get their names. So, like, as they're kind of doing that, the Detective 2 kneels down and, like, pokes around in the mud a little bit and kind of stands up looking at something on his fingers and looks at the other guy who looks at him. And then this beat cop comes up, this guard comes up and basically says, "There wasn't a mark on Jenny." Once again, the accents are back. I know, they're great. And Detective Number 2 says, "Which leaves the husband." And the detective says, "Dennis? Did they have any visitors staying with them?" And the cop says, "I don't think so. I can check." And the detective, this is all banal conversation, at least to fucking nothing.
Right.
Detective 2 says, "What amazes me is how the woman survived." Sexist as fuck. Like, there cannot be a final girl in this movie. It's like, how did the woman survive and the men died? That doesn't seem right. You get on the wrong side of an Irish woman, you will find out why she survived, because she will fucking beat you up.
That's kind of what I was thinking throughout this, but I mean, I guess they know a little bit more about these people in the village, I guess, than I do.
I don't think they do. I think they're coming from the big
That's
city.
fair.
I think they're coming
that would make sense. Yeah.
coming from the big city where women are a bit more cosmopolitan, and they've come out to the rural sticks here, and they don't understand that you're on the wrong side of a woman, she will kill you with a rolling pin. That is literally, and it's in the law there. Like, she can kill you with a rolling pin and bury you and not face any charges, as long as it's done on a Saturday, only on a Saturday, and it's done between the hours of 3 and 3:30. It's the law. Anyway, the detective says, "Clearly she hid herself." Once again, just like, clearly. We have so much evidence to prove that she hid herself. And then he starts to posit what he thinks maybe where she hid herself. And these are brilliant. It was like, "A wardrobe, perhaps." I was like, "Oh, really? How did you come to that conclusion?" Or he's like, "Or the attic?" And I'm like, "Oh, here we go. She turned herself invisible." It could be any of these things. And Detective 2 says, I don't think Conway knows what hit him. So Conway's the police officer who's a bit kind of No, in fact, Conway's the guy who's standing at the side of the vehicle. And the detective says, I don't think they've had a murder around here before. That's a fucking good thing.
Right.
I'm like, why are we being snidey and sarcastic about that homicide police officer? You know what I would love to live? I'd love to live in a place where there is no murder.
And where everybody's a little bit shocked when one happens and they don't know what to do.
It's that way where whenever there's not to make things American for a second, but I'm gonna. That way where they're like that. Oh yeah, some gunman walked into a shopping mall and mowed down 30 people. And I'm sitting over here fucking horrified when that comes up in the news. And then we'll watch American news channels and like, oh yeah, another tragedy's happened. And I'm like, well, you can make it sound like a tragedy. Like, yep, another one of the, well, it's Tuesday. This is the second mass shooting this week. And I'm Steve Rogers, and you've been watching the news. Over to sports. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? Like,
it only becomes a bigger deal when you have two in the same day. Then it's like, whoa.
Oh, like this is
up here.
This is a spicy news day. So it says, I don't think they've had a murder around here before. And detective number 2 says, you're assuming Nicholson is dead. So Nicholson is the husband. And the detective looks at, love this, he looks at a giant fucking smashed window. Like, this window is the biggest window ever, and there's a Rawhead Rex shape in it. He's looking at this window, and he basically says, state of this house? Blood? Yeah, I think so. I think we're looking at some kind of revenge killing. And the detective 2 says, doesn't seem to go with the territory in backwoods Ireland. And I love this line actually, because this is kind of like smart ass detective material. He says, I don't know, resentments can fester anywhere. Which is true. Like, literally, anywhere you go, any village, any town, any tribe, like mud huts in the Amazon, you could go there and I guarantee you there's at least one person who's looking at another person going, I fucking hate him.
Right. It's human nature, yeah. So
motherfucker. You know what I mean?
Act like he came up with the biggest police breakthrough that he's ever had.
Yeah, it's like resentments can fester anywhere. And then I love this bit. He says, we're looking for several individuals that could cause this much damage. Cut to Rawhead Rex just going, like just meandering through the woods, dragging a corpse behind him because he's Rawhead Rex. And whilst all this happened, we jump back to the hotel and David Duke's getting dressed. Now this, I feel sorry for Duke's wife. We're going to get to this in a second. I have some theories here. Right, David Duke's getting dressed because the sirens have apparently woken him up. His wife gets up and then seductively tells him to come back to bed. Now, I'm just going to say it this way. Unless the building was on fire, my clothes would be off and I'd be back in bed. Right? That's how base level I am, and I'm open and honest about it, right? That is,
I would have to be forcibly evacuated, where pounding is on the door and I just can't focus anymore. Outside of that, sirens outside. I mean, I guess I am American, so sirens outside is it's going back to what you said. It's Wednesday. So
it's Wednesday, it's Happy Siren Day. You mean even if she didn't, even if there wasn't the implication of sex there, I'm still in there thinking there is. I'm sorry, that's just the way my mind works. But not David Duke. No. He says, I'm going to take a walk, get some air to help me go to sleep. You know what helps me get to sleep? Shagging.
Yep.
Shagging helps me get to sleep. It's about the only thing that helps me get... Shagging and alcohol are about the only two things that will help me sleep. And I don't sleep. So, and then I love this bit. He says, you know you were talking in your sleep? And the wife's like, was I? And he says, who the hell is Big Jake? And the wife says, wouldn't you like to know? It's a dildo, isn't it? Big Jake is the nickname for our dildo. Has to be. Even if she didn't mention it, Big Jake, come on. And Big Jake is the name of our 8-inch, veiny, the fucking cockstone pulled it at the beginning of this movie, right? Is a giant dildo, and I won't have anyone else tell me otherwise. I love when he's getting ready to go out the door. She's like, "Oh, Jake," and I'm like, "That, yep." She is full on in the Jake mode, and if Jake wasn't packed in the suitcase, then she's finding something else.
And I mean, she must have to use this since her husband is rather go out for a walk to get some fresh air instead of
staying in the room with his awake and attentive wife. I mean, I don't know. This is where the movie lost all credibility for me. Yes, you can bring monsters at the ground and all the rest, and I'm with it. This scene is totally unbelievable. So anyway, Rawhead Rex is in the woods and he comes out upon a trailer park. I love this because no one's having sex in your 5 minutes at all. There's a kid playing with a bunch of toy soldiers and watching an old black and white movie. His brother and the babysitter are making out in front of the kid, which is awkward and wrong, I'm just going to say. And the kid, who is, I've written here, sporting a terrible flat mullet. There's no height or bims, so it's not technically a mullet. The kid, seeing the perfect time, has decided to instigate Operation Cock Block. And oh by God, does he execute it perfectly. He moves in with a kill shot. He basically starts playing around with this like helicopter. Meow, meow, meow. That's right. And because I don't have any names here, we'll later on find out the elder boy is called Andy, but at this stage I didn't know that, so he's just boy. In this scene we have boy, kid, and girl. That's literally all I've got. So the boy says, "Hey, why don't you watch the film, huh?" And the kid says, "Seen it." And the boy says, "Well, change the channel." And he turns around and says, "I've seen them all." And then he turns on the toy robot, which is the loudest fucking noise in the history of man. Well,
I mean, classic for children's toys, so it's right on par. Where get some credibility back here.
Yeah, you're still at that lovely stage now, David, where like just playing peekaboo is like full on the best entertainment your child will ever get. The escalation that you will have to make to larger, noisier things in the next year is going to upset you.
We are trying our hardest to be like, do not buy us these toys, because my father has said, we'll get you a drum kit. I was like, no, you will not get us a drum kit. You can have that at your house.
Yeah, we'll get you a drum kit. Your answer back to your father should be, did you buy me a drum kit? No. Nope. But why didn't you buy me a drum? If you're all of a sudden interested in the musical arts, why didn't you buy me one when I could have learned and been, I don't know, the second drummer from Motley Crue by now? No, you didn't do that, Dad, did you? You want to know why? Because you wanted to sleep. You wanted to sleep. That's why. Yeah, it gets worse, and just continues to get worse. And then eventually it'll get better, but the stage it gets better, your child will no longer want to talk to you. So
that's fair.
So yeah, you've got all that to look forward to. So congratulations. So anyway, he switches on the toy robot, and of course this noise instantly Rawhead Rex is like, huh? Ragu? He's in on this one. So the boy says to his brother, "You're just being selfish," and the girl says, "Don't, Andy." And you would think at this point I would refer to boy as Andy moving forward, but I don't. So the boy says, "You're a selfish little brat." And then Rawhead Rex looks in the window. He's like, "Hello. Hiya there." And the boy says, "We're going to go outside for this." He doesn't indicate what this is. I'm just going to say it's the thing that David Duke should have been doing, but decided to go for a walk instead. Right. And he says, "I'm going to come back and get you, you little dickhead." And the kid says, "You and whose army?" Because he's got like a toy army in front of him, and that's kind of funny. And the boy says, "You're a little pig. Just you wait." And then we get an exterior shot of the girl leaving the trailer, and Rawhead Rex is heavily breathing and watching them. And he's like this. And then the boy and the kid have a little bit of a fight. He lifts the boy's robot toy, walks out the trailer and locks a kid in it. Which, I mean, if that was always an option...
Why would you just do that from the beginning?
What are we doing here? So
needs more ad runtime, so you gotta tack that on there.
This movie needs to be an hour and a half, so we're gonna do this. So he looks the kid in, And the kid's trying to open the door and they can't, like, still trying to open the door. Rawhead Rex is watching them, and then the girl says, I need to talk to you, and it's serious, which means one of two things. She's either pregnant or she's breaking up with him, right? It's one of the two. And the boy's like, I can be serious. And I'm like, you're holding a robot toy, which is making me more noises right now, and that's not serious. So he drops the robot on the ground and they start to walk away. And the kid's still trying to open the door and he can't. And I love the fact that he clearly doesn't understand how locks work. Like, if you pull on this door ain't opening. If it's locked, it's locked. Rawhead Rex walks up and at first picks up the toy. And the kid's still rattling the door, and eventually he's like, Andy! And Rawhead drops the toy on the ground, smashing it, and then walks towards the caravan, and we have our close of our 5 minutes. David, I feel like you've been shortchanged, my friend. I feel like there's always the tease of a classic, Rawhead there, like nibbling on someone, or like some truly great scene, like a priest getting pissed on. Like, there's almost like there's something in the wings here, and you didn't get it this run through, and I want to formally apologise to you, because I think you earned a scene with Rawhead Rex killing someone and you didn't fucking get it.
That's fair. I mean, I'll accept that. I will say is that the only silver lining has been that we've had some pretty funny dialogue, at least, in both of my little sections here. And I mean, I guess as a consolation, I did get to see Rawhead in this one, where opposed to the other time, it was just seeing his like mouth come at the screen. So, and the stained glass window were the only.
Well, what I'm going to say as the catalyst, and I don't know where this episode is going to drop, right? There's no way to tell. But we are going to be doing another one of these, right? We're going to be doing another one of these for Christmas time. And during that one, we will be doing the Silent Night, Deadly Night remake. Just of Silent Night with Malcolm McDowell. And I'm inviting you back on that one. And I'm hoping...
I will accept already without even discussing with my wife.
Yep. Good man. Like, if listen, you can always just go out for a walk to help you get some sleep.
That's true.
But yeah, I'm going to do that. Silent Night remake from 2012, I think it is what I'm doing next. And I'm inviting you back on that. And I hope that you get one of the many, many amazing scenes. Have you ever seen it?
I have. I actually covered that with my like buddy when we do our little like podcast together, and yeah, we had a pretty good time. And I think that one if I end up with like 2 sections in that one that doesn't have any death scenes, like the universe is like, no, you don't need these. You need to help build the story with Duncan. Yeah,
but also like you're guaranteed like at least a scene with Malcolm McDowell, like changing accents willy-nilly. Can't decide if he's American. Can't decide if he's English. Who cares?
That might be worth it.
That might be worth the whole fucking caboodle. Right, anyway, yeah, do you have a favourite bit from these 5 minutes here? Anything that's like a particular sequence or a bit of dialogue? What was your favourite?
I think for me, I was originally going to go with the like creeping, peeping Tom version of Rawhead that I got, but I think I'm going to go with the little brother here, because if your older brother is going to be trying to do what he's doing in front of you, I give him full reign to cock block him, because that's the only that's his his right that was given to him, because that's creepy.
Yeah, when your parents decide that they're going to have sex again and produce another child, that child, when he comes out, is preordained with the ability to embarrass and cock block the older sibling for eternity. That's their role. That's their role. That's the pecking order. Like the eldest child is always the first one who gets basically all the good shit at the start. Like is very driven, will be pushed and pushed and pushed. Second child isn't pushed as much, but inevitably has the right to be a pain in the dick.
Dead on.
Yep. I'm with you on this one. I'm 100% like the kid in this one, where you can see him playing his toys, and looks over and he's like, my brother's starting to get lucky here. Now is my time to shine. It's kind of amazing. It's like that to me is where I get like the police stuff at the beginning of this is just Like, it doesn't, like, it's interesting that, like, the police are following the dead bodies, but it doesn't add anything. It's padding. It's purely padding at this stage. Just setting us up for the next Rawhead Rex kill sequence. David, it has been a pleasure chatting to you on this episode. Of course, you're a busy guy. You do written reviews and you have a podcast. Please let the listeners out there know where they can check out your stuff.
Yeah, for sure. My podcast is Journey with a Cinephile, a horror movie podcast, and that should be found anywhere that podcasts are at. I haven't really found anyone that I don't have those on there. And also, I have my blog where I have little pages for all of the episodes on there to help kind of direct you to that, as well as all of the written reviews that I've done, and that is horrorreview.webnode.com.
Perfect. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know where this episode is dropping. This might be the first one you've heard, and if it is, then guess what? Oh, this is the level. We're benchmarking it, and everything better be better than this, or else. But this could be the end, and if that is the case, we finish strong. We fucking finish strong. If it's in the middle, then I don't know, things and stuff. Anyway.
Good luck to whoever follows.
Yeah, the gauntlet being dropped. You hear that? You hear that, ladies and gentlemen? That's the sound of leather being taken off a hand and you being slapped in the face with it.
And it's probably going to have a kill sequence right after.
The next episode after this is literally the scene where the priest gets pissed on. Like this is the easiest 5 minutes in this movie. Is just like all the talk of golden showers.
Which, if it is, I'm going to eat this crow pie and I'm going to.
But yeah, we'll be back with another one of these, maybe or not. But you will have to check out tomorrow to find out, because this entire month, October, every single day, there is an episode coming your way. So until then, I'll speak to you later.